My guest today is somebody I've had the pleasure of speaking with many times on the Prog Report. Of course, he's a member of many bands, including his own Neal Morse band, and was the founder of Spock's Beard, who he reunited with last year at Morsefest to perform Snow, their landmark album from many years ago, which is now being released on November 10th as a live set. Pleased to welcome Neal Morse.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Sorry about that. You know firsthand about having to reboot computers in the middle of shows, right?
I do. I know quite a bit about
that. So I saw online you have the Radiant School thing going on this week.
I do.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Oh, it's cool. I'm just we spend the first day, getting acquainted, setting everybody up. Everybody has like a little writing station, and then I write something spontaneously and show them how I write and demo stuff. And so I recorded like a theme and then a variation of the theme, a real kind of proggy thing. And then today they're all writing their own things, and I'm going around and listening and telling them what I think.
And is that hard if something's, how to judge it based on skill level, that type of thing?
It's not hard, really, at all. It's really fun.
That's cool.
It's not I don't feel like it's my, I'm not like the guy in Whiplash or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm mainly there to encourage them. I tell them what I feel like is good about the piece, and I tell them what I'm hearing, that I think would make it better if they want to do that. It's their piece and it's their music, and music is very subjective.
That is absolutely just the coolest thing to offer people that are fans of yours. That's really cool.
I'm enjoying it. We have two 19-year-old students from Santa Barbara that are really, really gifted, and it's in my heart to try to help other composers, particularly young guys like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I also saw that you were finally booked. I think everybody sort of knew it, and was hoping to have you back on the cruise. It's not a cruise without Mike and without you. You guys are like old hats at this thing already. But so you have a new album that might be out by then, or is in the works, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I have a new singer-songwriter album. It's not a prog album.
Right.
It's more of a pop, acoustic pop, sort of folky, sort of bluesy a little bit.
Great.
It's a different kind of record. I would say it'd be more, more like a contemporary, almost Americana kind of singer-songwriter album.
Is it like songs from November or not? A
little bit. It's a little different than that. It's just a little more acoustic guitar-oriented.
Cool.
And I don't know. You'll just have to hear it, see what you think.
I'm sure. Well, I listen. I've never found anything you've done to be bad. So I'm not worried about it. But we're here to talk about the Snow Live set that's coming out. Look, I was there. It's one of the great moments of my life to have been there to witness that when you guys did it at Morsefest. It was really beyond words, so good and so emotional, and for people that were fans of the band and loved that album and what you guys did. How long did the planning for that take? I know that was something that was talked about for years. So how did it finally end up becoming something you guys pulled off?
Well, it just seemed like it was the right time. It's like the stars aligned. Everybody had the time. Everybody wanted to do it. And, we just got together and did it. I mean, it's funny because we talked about it for many years, and Nick had tried to get everybody together to do it for a long time. I think that's why he says in his liner notes, well, it's about time.
Right.
It didn't really fit in my schedule. There'd usually be something else like, well, no, it doesn't really make sense to do that right now. things have to be. It has to be the right season for something. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're in the middle of the similitude year, so to speak, it would be weird to do some other gig like right in the middle of that.
Right.
When the focus is all on this other thing. But it seemed like there was a lull there. Mike was busy doing, I don't remember what. I think Winery Dogs, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. And so, he was busy. There was just, it was a good lull, and it seemed like the right time, and man, what an experience. It was amazing.
So was it a lot of, how many months beforehand did you decide to do it, and then you said, okay, I got to start rehearsing this thing? And was the first time the 7 of you guys played it just the 2 days before, like when they all showed up?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought wasn't it 3 days before? I think everybody got there like Monday night maybe, and we started playing on Tuesday.
Right.
I think we had Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to work on Snow, and then Thursday night we worked on Storytellers, and then Friday was Storytellers, and Saturday was Snow. I think that's what I remember. It was pretty tight, man.
Yeah, and so everybody had to come already probably pretty well rehearsed and knowing their thing. For people that haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it too much, but you had Jimmy and Ted take some parts that were on the album. Was that a last-minute decision there, or already predetermined? How did that come about?
That was predetermined. I don't know whose idea it was now. I don't remember, but it was a good one.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I don't remember
have
if it was Dave that suggested it or what, but
yeah, that was really neat.
Part of the thing I think with the guys was like they didn't want the other guys in Spock's to feel left out.
Right.
And I didn't either. And so when it was proposed to do it with everyone, I thought, oh yeah, that'll be great. Because I've worked with those guys before, and I just love working with them. They're great. Jimmy and Ted are awesome. Ted did the Transatlantic Kaleidoscope tour with us, and it was just so much fun. And he's just not just a great talent, but a great guy to be around. And so yeah, it was just a lot of fun, really.
You do this thing where you haven't played this album live and it'd been out for a million years, and on top of that there was the pressure of, okay, now we're going to record it. We've never played it live before together, and on the very first night we're doing it, we're going to record this thing. So how was that added pressure on top of that, and how worried were you about, did it make you tighter in terms of mistakes or anything that concerned you during the show?
Well, I think, if you can avoid that, you should. Meaning, if you can have some warm-up gigs, it would be a lot better.
Sure.
Yeah. Filming the end-all, Blu-ray and everything on the first time. I mean, we didn't know it, but we got, after this was already booked and almost sold out, then they offered Night of the Prog in Germany for us to do it there, and so we wound up doing it a second time. And I have to say, I think the second time was definitely more relaxed, and it wasn't being filmed, and
right.
There was it was a beautiful night over there. Wow, that was the best gig I've ever done there at that festival. I played that festival quite a few times now, and that was a really, really, really good one. So yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking, honestly, it being filmed, and because there's no, you can practice till you turn blue,
right.
But there's nothing like performing an album. You have to perform it a couple times to really get it under your belt, so to speak.
Well, even with Similitude, I mean, I saw an early gig, right, and then I saw the last one that you did at this recent Morsefest, and it was flawless, right? I mean, you guys had it down probably without even thinking.
Yeah, well, when you've played it 50 times,
Yeah.
you know, then it becomes a struggle to not go on autopilot.
Right. Right. Yeah.
To keep it fresh. So.
You know, you're not you're Kiss playing Rock and Roll All Night for the 8 millionth time. You know. That's tough. The quality of the Blu-ray, the audio, the whole thing is as good as any that anyone will ever see. Talk about getting that whole production together. And did you know after doing it that it was going to come out so good? I mean, what was your feeling when you finally saw it months later? What came out of that?
I was amazed. I think the film crew and Rich Mauser. I mean, I knew, when you get stellar people, you can count on you're going to have stellar end results. And when you have Rich Mauser at the helm, at the show and doing the mix in his home studio, and you have Thad Keston and his team that's like 10 people or something. I mean, those guys are just first rate and just wonderful. They're all just wonderful people too.
Yeah. I mean, the audio, I mean, Rich is at this point working with you guys over 20 years, right? So that familiarity, right? He knows how you want things to sound and so on. That becomes a little easier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to fly out there and sit there with him, because I felt like I needed to look after things. I don't feel that way anymore.
Right.
He'll send me, I don't know, when he sent me the Snow Live thing, I maybe had 3 notes for the whole 2 hours of music.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it was, he's just ridiculously good, and always goes the extra mile to make sure that everything's the way it needs to be, and the video is that way too. And so I was pretty confident it was going to be great by the time we were done with it.
So how close were any discussions about, hey, the 7 of us, this is a good band, we should make a new album? Did that ever come at all across after this?
It didn't. That was never discussed.
Man, I
was going right into, I mean, Similitude was coming out, only 3 months after that. So that's really where my head was.
Right.
My head was really in the Neal Morse band, and this was just a kind of a one-off thing in a lull. Yeah. That's the way it was for me. And probably they sensed that anyway. And I think that they, are eager to continue on with their lineup, and everybody's happy.
So, the next, if there's going to be one, another Morsefest, I know it usually takes a little while to sort of step back and look at the landscape and see if there's a possibility or what to do. Have the talks or discussions started about if and when or not?
Yeah, we've started to talk about it, and honestly, a lot of it hinges on Mike,
right.
and when he can do it, and it's too early for him to tell. So I put out feelers with him, and I put out feelers with the venue, and it's still too early to tell. It's such a great thing. I mean, I think it would be a shame to not do it again.
Well, it's become like summer camp for all of these Prog fans that love your music.
Right.
So,
right.
Meeting with old friends that you hadn't seen for the last year. It's really become that on top of also the music.
Yes.
So definitely, I know everybody wants it for sure.
Yeah, the fellowship part is really amazing.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So, what are your thoughts on Sons of Apollo? Have you had a chance to listen to it and this new?
I've only heard the
supergroup?
stuff, in the videos. I was going to say I need to ask Mike to send me a link, man. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to the whole thing.
That's wild. Yeah, he's got to get on there. He's got to send a copy out. One more thing I wanted to ask you about. Thomas, the guy who does all the album covers for Spock's Beard and had done all the ones, he did Snow, and I guess he did for the live cover also. That's somebody also that you've used for a large majority of your album covers. What's that relationship like in working with that guy? Do you just call him up and say, here's what I'm thinking, or do you send him the music, or how close do you get to pushing him in a certain direction, or does he just send you something?
I usually just give him some kind of idea, or sometimes I don't give him anything. I don't think on this one I gave him anything. I was just like, well, if there's a way to combine the original Snow cover with a bunch of live photos so people know it's live, I guess that would be good. But yeah, no, Thomas Everhart is another one of those guys. He's just so great. You can just kind of send him. A lot of times what we used to do is just send him the album. He would listen to the music and then just come up with something.
Yeah, I mean, he's done spectacular work. I don't think a lot of people know who did all those great album covers over the years. So
yeah,
I always think that's pretty cool how that stuff comes together. Well, cool, man. Listen, always a pleasure, as always, to talk to you. By the way, the book is being printed now. We've started pre-orders already, so I'll definitely. Well, I guess I'll get you a copy on the ship. Yeah. Thank you for all your support for that. That's been great, and I'm looking forward to finally getting that out.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, man. Thank you, Roy.
All right, man. Be good. Good night, and I'll see you soon.
Have a good night, man. Take care.
Bye. Thanks to Neal for the interview. You can catch him on Cruise to the Edge, February 3rd to the 8th, and Snow Live comes out November 10th, which you can pick up at radiantrecords.com. For upcoming news and interviews, please check theprogreport.com, follow us on Facebook, at The Prog Report on Twitter, or download the podcast on iTunes. Thanks.
Thank you all today. Say it again. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful.